Okay, last time we got our character moving in the scene and we got the animations going. So there's an idle animation, there's a run animation, and we are moving all around. Next thing I want to do today is jump. So let's see what we can do about jumping. Let's try to make this a little bigger for everybody to see what's going on. Okay, so let's go back to our script. If I want to jump, here in my update, let's capture the idea that I am jumping. Oh, that's another script. That's where we're going. So here's where we are. I would like to say here, if input.get key down is the space key, then it's time to jump. Let's talk to our body and add a force, which is a new vector2, and this is going to be heading in the y direction, 0, and let's give it something let's call jump force. Jump force doesn't exist, but let's let people change it just like we were with the run speed, public float jump force, and let's give it 400. Okay. Back over here, let's see if we jump now. And we're here. Look at us jump. That's great. Okay. And we can jump and we hit the bottom of our platform. And what we can do is double jump, triple jump. I can jump in the middle of the air. This is the kind of thing you want to do for a Flappy Birdish kind of game where you're trying to keep it up. You have a little bit of jump force that you add. And that's where you want to go, but not for this game. Right now, that's not a feature we have. We want to just be jumping once. And so I'd like to know, when should I be able to jump and when shouldn't I be able to jump? Let's give a little indicator up here with a Boolean. Jumping. We're going to say we're not jumping when we start, but here, when we do hit space, I want to say jumping equals true. Now I can use this as a flag to say, hey, I shouldn't be able to get into this statement if I'm jumping. So if I'm not jumping and I hit the space, then it's time to add the jump force, and then jumping is true. Now, what is this going to do for me? In my game, I only get to jump once. So I'm here, I jump once, and I can never jump again. So I want to reset my jumps when I get a collision. So down here, I'm going to say void on collision enter 2D, jumping equals false. Now, that's going to let me jump every time I bump into something. Let's see what happens in our game. We probably want to have that with an if statement and tags, but just to get it going here, let's see what happens. I am able to jump, but not while I'm there. I have to wait until I hit the ground again, and then I can jump. Okay, second thing I want to be able to do. I would like to be able to jump through this platform. Many times we can see platforms that are near us, but this could be the game you want, where you have your platforms defined and you have a path, but oftentimes there's platforms you can jump through from the bottom, from the top, they would hold you. Let's see how we do that in Unity. There's lots of cool things that we get to add and tweak to make that happen. So we have our tile map set up here with the tile map collider 2D. First thing I want to do is make this into a composite collider. So what does that mean? When we're here in our collisions, working on this piece of our grid, each of those elements in here is its own little collider, and they're all by themselves. That's kind of time intensive on what goes on. So it's going to say, when you have colliders that are right next to each other, I want to merge them. So what's it going to do here? tile map collider used by composite. And this tile map collider is now used by my composite collider to put things together. Now, another thing I want to do, say when I run this, and I say, great, everything's good. Whoa, what happened? Adding that composite collider also added a rigid body. And so my rigid body, I need this to be static, so that this rigid body is not moving, but it's still there and it's still able to be interacted with. Good. Okay, so now I have a composite collider. Notice how it merged all of those together into one collider around here. Now I still can't jump through it, but I have some pieces in place where I can start to think about that. Okay, next thing I want to do. There is a really cool component down here in Physics 2D called a platform effector. So we have colliders, and they can be compositely put together, and then it also has another thing here called used by effector. So this is going to use the platform effector. Now it has a cool option down here, a one-way option. So it also changes some ways of, can you stick to the side of it? What does it mean to be jumping into it? It's one big thing, but let's see what happens. Now that it's a composite collider with an effector on it that's one way, let's see if I can jump through it. So if I run down here and I jump, I can. Now the strange thing is I got stuck inside my platform. Now that troubled me for a while, because I didn't want to get stuck inside platforms. And it looks like once I'm inside, I'm kind of trapped inside the platform, and then I can jump again and get on top of the platform. Okay, last thing we need to do to fix this is talk to our character and say the character should really be using a stronger collision detection. Over here in collision detection, discrete says it looks at it slice by slice. Continuous does some predicting to know not just are you intersecting it at this moment, but are you going to intersect it? And it helps us not bounce into the bottom and get stuck inside platforms here. So it should have made us not get stuck. That was how I'd fixed it yesterday. But if we are down below, looks like we can still get inside. I didn't want to be able to do that. That is what I thought setting it to continuous collision detection was going to do for us. I fixed it before. Well, let's keep going here. Collision. You have a rigid body and a collider. Collider mask everything. Yeah, that's what fixed it before. Strange. Well, I'll keep working on that. I was pretty sure that was the last piece of the puzzle, so that I was no longer able to jump inside things. But apparently I can still get inside where I don't want to get stuck. Okay, so I'll keep working on that. But we've got a lot of pieces, and you can get going on making these platformers.